My name is Zummel Calvin Brooks II. I'm the founder and owner of Zummel's Customs Incorporated. I operated buses for Greyhound, numerous school bus companies. I'm certified in 2 states to operate school buses, South Carolina and New York. My shield, my badge number from when I operated buses in New York. I also work for Waccamaw Regional Transit Agency. I'm a retired bus operator. I'm done with the business, but I make models. You see what I do. My condolences to the families of the fallen bus operators who have died in the line of duty. The one especially here in Atlanta, and the one especially out there, I believe, is Seattle, if I'm not mistaken, in Washington State. I think his name is Mr. Lee or something like that, or Lou. My condolences to you and your family. I haven't read up on your story yet, sir. The guy that's out west that died in the line of duty while he was operating a city bus in Seattle, I believe it is. Enough is enough now. To these passengers out there and to the drivers, listen, that's not our money. A golden rule that I was taught by a real bus operator from a real city: that fare box is not your money. Don't argue over that fare box if you want to go home to your family at night. The only thing you should be arguing about is your paycheck stub and what's missing on your paycheck. If it ain't missing on your paycheck, why are you arguing? You got the best job in the world. You sit behind a window, something the teacher said that you cannot do and make $100,000 a year. Guess what? Being a bus operator, you can. They lied to you. But we take our job a little bit too serious sometimes, because what the public don't understand is the insides to the job and the stresses of the job, with management coming down on us complaining about the fare. But what management needs to understand now is that if you want somebody to regulate the fare, put a cop on the bus. I don't have a weapon for me to regulate no money on that bus. My job is to operate that bus in a safely manner from point A to point B without having an accident, without getting into any quarrels with any passengers. Help as much as possible. That's how I was taught to do the job. You newcomers that's coming in, love what you do. Don't come in here just for the money, because if you come in here just for money, you're going to be broke. Because nobody's going to want to give you work. Nobody's going to want to work with you because you're all about the money and the paycheck. You got to love to help people if you want to be a bus driver or a bus operator. As I say again, it's time for us to form a new union, a new style of union, to where all of us are incorporated, not just New York City with New York City, Atlanta with Atlanta, this borough. No, all bus operators need to stand up together under one number, under one local, under one standard. We do the job the same way, but in different cities. I was fired from Waccamaw Regional Transit while operating at 15 South, which is the route number is 15S, at Myrtle Beach Airport, because I was called a nigga by a cab driver. That cab driver happened to so-called know my supervisor, Mark Little, who was sitting at the transfer station in Myrtle Beach. When I pulled back in, I had a passenger on the bus that was willing to tell the story to Mark Little. Mark Little declined to take the passenger statement and wrote me up for insubordination, when all I did was save that passenger's life and save the lives of everybody else on the bus. Because he was driving erratically, trying to make me have an accident with my bus with his vehicle, with the camera being in front, and he used it against me. And now I'm terminated. All because I said to myself in an excited utterance behind a closed door, if this was me as a child, this was my younger days, I would have robbed you. What happened to my First Amendment right, the freedom of speech? Y'all violated that, and I'm coming for them. That's one. Two, New York City Transit, a dispatcher downtown Brooklyn called me a nigga. I gave it to John Cleary at the bus depot. John Cleary asked me straight to my face, are you sure you want to do this? He must have had ties to the mob, because guess what? got put out of service. So instead of me getting put out of service, I resigned. I didn't get fired, I resigned. So yes, I'm retired. We know the stresses of the job, but that don't stop me from loving the passengers, speaking to passengers, directing them to where they gotta go. But you passengers gotta understand too. We are human beings just like you. We're from the hood just like you. We walk the walk just like you walk the walk. Just because we sit behind that wheel and got a job and get a comfy little paycheck don't mean we can't be hood and can't whoop your ass or do this and do that. But at the end of the day, you don't want nobody coming to you with the bullshit, so why would you want to come to the bus driver with the bullshit? All I'm doing is driving the bus. I don't know what happened outside that bus, but only thing I know is what's going on my bus. And when you are riding the bus, have respect for each other. What happened to the lack of respect we have? See, if our elders was here, if your grandmother was here, your mother was here, they'll punch you in the face when you act up on the bus, or smack you up, or beat your ass when you get off the bus. I've seen it many a times done. It's babies having babies out here, and we are killing each other. Because you can't teach a kid how to be a kid when you're still a kid. So with all that being said, my condolences to the families of the fallen bus operators. In Laredo Depot, you should be ashamed of yourself for not showing up to that man's wake, to give that woman support in what was going on. If I knew about it, I would have dressed up in my full New York City Transit Authority bus operator's uniform with my shield in hand and walked in there and give my condolences. You guys at Laredo Depot need to grow up and mature up and realize that we do the same job, and that could have been you. Either one of you there. Or anybody for that matter that's operating a bus. This is my message to the world. So now I'm using my platform to stand up for my bus operators. So I want y'all to stand up with me. And I want all bus operators across America to replay this video every day and think about your wives and your husbands and your family at home before you get behind that wheel and operate that bus. I just don't build them for fun to play with and tinkle with. I love driving them as well because they're machinery. But at the end of the day, when you got to pick passengers up with them, you got to remember these passengers go through everything. Like we go through everything. So be courteous to them. Help them love each other more now. Now is a time for love. Now is not a time for hatred. Now is a time for love. There's too much going on in the world that's got us so blinded now that we are hating each other. It's time for love.